Hi lucky viewers! As you can tell from the title, today you're going to learn how to make French toast. But not just any French toast, you're going to learn how to make my special French toast, which is phenomenal. And if you're on a diet, then you should turn this video off right now because French toast is a very unhealthy breakfast with a lot of sugar, the way I make it. And that's why it tastes so good. I'm pretty sure every American loves French toast, so I want to call it an American delicacy, but it does have the word French in its name. So, I don't know. Did the French actually eat this stuff? Did they really invent it? I really don't know. Anyway, no matter its origins, it's very tasty and it's something that everyone should know how to make. So all you really need to make French toast is eggs and bread. But if you want to make my phenomenal French toast, then you'll also need milk, strawberries, powdered sugar, vanilla, and cinnamon. Okay, first you're going to need to crack some eggs in a Tupperware and, scramble them or whatever. And you need to make sure that your Tupperware is big enough for a piece of bread to fit inside of. You need to crack as many eggs as slices of bread that you're planning on making, or one less egg than the amount of slices of bread that you're planning on using. I'm planning on making myself 2 pieces of French toast, but I actually cracked 3 eggs because I normally use the leftover egg stuff just to make scrambled eggs. So yeah, just crack as many eggs as you see fit if you want leftovers or whatever. So next, I always add a little tiny bit of milk to the eggs because milk makes it makes the eggs like fluffy and just better for the French toast. But you can't add too much milk or else the eggs will cook differently and then you'll have a big mess in your frying pan. So this is about how much I'm going to use. And remember that it's proportional to the amount of eggs that you're going to make. So I have 3 eggs here, so I'm going to use like that much milk. I'm using non-fat milk, which is totally fine and it'll make the eggs fluffy and stuff, but 2% or 1%, or even if you have a little bit of cream, those ones make your eggs like the fluffiest. So yeah, you can use whatever kind of milk. Next, I'm going to add vanilla to my eggs. My oldest sister Lila taught me this little method. It makes the French toast just taste so much better if you like vanilla flavor or whatever. So I'm going to add I'm still experimenting with this. I'm going to add that much vanilla. Not too much, you don't want it to change the flavor of your French toast dramatically. So mix all that vanilla and milk up in the eggs. And you're ready to start making your French toast. I have a pan that's big enough to fit 2 pieces of French toast in it. It's alright if you use a pan that's only big enough for 1 piece of French toast, but it just goes faster if you can do more at the same time. You're going to need to grease your pan unless you have one of those special non-stick pans or whatever. But I don't, so I'm going to grease mine because you don't want the toast to stick to the pan and stuff. Then you're going to take your piece of bread and just drop it in the eggs. I know, it's kind of gross. Coat the bread with egg on both sides. And drop it in the frying pan. You're going to want your fire on medium-high to high because you want the eggs to cook fast and stuff. So this is where the cinnamon comes in. While the bread is on the pan frying, I like to sprinkle cinnamon on top. Depending on how much you like cinnamon is how much cinnamon you can use. Just do your preference or whatever. And you're going to be flipping over the French toast periodically. I think some people make their French toast they just, oh, by the way, I'm putting the cinnamon on both sides of the bread to make it extra good and cinnamony. I think some people cook their French toast just keeping it on each side for so much amount of time, but I like to flip it over and over to get that, like, I don't know, I just don't like to keep it on one side for too long. It doesn't really matter how you cook it, I guess. Okay, my French toast is done. You need to make sure you cook it all the way through, because if you don't, then when you're biting into your French toast, it's going to be all soggy and not done and stuff. So you don't want it to get burnt. That's why I like to flip it over and over again, so that I can make sure that each side is not getting too done, you know. So this is what mine looks like, if you want a reference. And it's not burnt in the middle, that's the cinnamon. So yeah, that's about perfect. Each side just a little brown, you know. So now we're going to get to the good part. And I'm going to add syrup, strawberries, and powdered sugar to it. Of course, these are all optional. I just personally think that they all make the French toast taste so much better. But if you don't like powdered sugar, then don't add it. And some people prefer bananas, I think, on their French toast, but I don't really like that flavor, and I think strawberries taste really great with it. And if you add sugar to your strawberries like this, you get like a syrupy effect, which is great to have on pancakes or French toast or any kind of breakfast thing. I personally like using boysenberry syrup and maple syrup together, but the boysenberry syrup is expensive, so you should only use a little bit of that, and then add the maple, then the strawberries, and lastly sprinkle some powdered sugar onto it. And voila, there is your French toast. Bon appetit! Doesn't it look awesome? Now go make your own.